night on the South today. After 8 years, the upgraded Lakes District Museum and historic bank building in Arrowtown is reopening its doors. A multicoloured portaloo begins a tour of the South Island, aimed to get people talking about gut health. And the green-fingered enthusiasm of 3 Alexandra Primary School pupils bears fruit with a national award. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. It's taken 8 years, but work to upgrade the Lakes District Museum in Arrowtown is finally complete. The historic former Bank of New Zealand building has been fully restored and seismically strengthened, with some old-school building techniques used along the way.
Finally, a chance to see inside at the grand opening of the Lakes District Museum's historic bank. It's been a long and challenging restoration project for those involved, but the once thriving former BNZ Bank has now reopened to the public, boasting a number of new exhibits. Economic Development Minister Stuart Nash commending Museum Director David Clark for his hard work.
We went through this, David, about a year ago, I think, and it was a shell. And it was hard to imagine what it was going to look like. And the fact that you've restored this back to how it was is absolutely incredible.
Local councillor Craig Ferguson says he sees the museum as one of Wakatupu's greatest assets.
Like the Earnslaw, the Queenstown Gardens, the old Coverdale Falls Bridge, Bullendale, Macetown, the old goal here in Arrowtown and many, many more.
Clark opened the museum with a shining golden ribbon to commemorate the finale of the Mammoth project.
I stand before you in front of our beautiful restored and strengthened bank building with a great sense of pride.
The historic building's also been seismically strengthened, with staff looking forward to showing the expanded museum off to residents and tourists. In Arrowtown, the South today.
Dunedin's Mayor Jules Radick is renewing a push to keep the possibility of a two-way George Street alive. The upgraded Farmers Block reopened last month as a shared vehicle and pedestrian space, which has now been reduced to one-way traffic. But Radick believes the remainder of George Street redevelopment could be tweaked to preserve flexibility. That kind of flexible design was originally recommended to the Dunedin City Council in 2020 by consultants Cobitz Ments. However, their advice was rejected 9 votes to 5 by councillors at the time. Mayor Radick has submitted a motion for next week's council meeting, calling for a mid-project review, along with an update report into its progress and costs. Well, for anyone eating their dinner in front of the TV right now, you might want to pause your meal for our next story. A multicoloured portaloo has begun a tour of the South Island. The Gut Foundation wants it to be a good talking point for a serious discussion about our number 2s.
Shoppers taking a second look at an unusual stand. This colourful portable toilet is touring around the South Island this month, with the aim of increasing awareness around the importance of good gut health. The Review Your Poo tour is a new initiative from the Gut Foundation, with the team hoping to do some straight talking and educating the public.
We wanted something that would capture people's attention and they'd go, oh, what's this all about? So that we could actually start those conversations, because it's not something we like to talk about.
Christchurch street artist Jacob Yikes turned this portaloo into an abstract representation of the journey through the gut. Fitzgerald says New Zealand has some of the highest rates of a range of gut disorders. Statistics from the Gut Foundation show 9 people are diagnosed with bowel cancer here every day, a disease which is treatable if detected early.
We want people to start realising that their gut microbiome is critically important to their overall health. Big connections between gut health and mental health.
The month-long portaloo tour began in Picton last week. It's due to stop off at almost 60 supermarkets over the 3,300 kilometre journey, including Queenstown on Saturday, before visiting Invercargill next Monday and Dunedin on Tuesday. From North Canterbury, the South today.
Catching rats isn't everyone's cup of tea, but for retired chemist Quinton MacDonald, it's all in a day's work, patrolling bush trails in the hills above Christchurch. He reckons the key is to try and think like a rat.
High in Christchurch's Port Hills, Quinton MacDonald is hard at work, catching rats. He's one of a large group of volunteers dedicated to creating a predator-free Port Hills, although he has mixed feelings about his job.
You know, it's sad that that we are killing, you know, animals that are beautifully adapted to their environment, but in some ways the greater good is to preserve our native species. There are rats all over the world, but most of our native species are only found here.
MacDonald works his own patch of bush. Over the last 4 years, he's caught 160 rats, using methods including a ceramic bait.
It's just a piece of sort of pottery that's been infused with a very strong smelling peanut oil. At the moment I'm feeding this trap, essentially leaving it unset, just trying to get the rats used to the idea that this is the bait associated with food.
He reckons rats are a bit like humans, looking for the easiest way to achieve their objectives. And that's something trappers can take advantage of.
They're cautious of going out into the open, so you can't put your traps out in the open. And they tend to be kind of lazy, they'll follow natural paths. So, you know, if there's a natural path, then it's a good place to put a trap.
Information is shared between the various predator-free groups to help would-be trappers.
Tips and tricks, what baits work, what sort of when to set your traps and where to put them and how to think like a rat.
Food for thought as volunteers try and make these hills predator-free. In Christchurch, the South Today.
The green-fingered enthusiasm of 3 Alexandra Primary School pupils has borne fruit. The school's food garden has won the Central Otago Kura national recognition from the Keep New Zealand Beautiful organisation.
Wandering through their school's fledgling food forest, Toby Longman, Ollie Marshall and Lily Hinson are enjoying the sweet success of their own garden. Alexandra Primary School's one of 10 national winners in the inaugural Keep New Zealand Beautiful Kai Garden competition. However, Garden Club coordinator Danielle Dunn admits the original idea was a borrowed one.
I just copied the idea from a friend, to be honest, who had seen it done before in another school.
These 3 enthusiastic young gardeners are the driving force behind the school's food forest. Dunn says the school's created a diverse and sustainable garden, which provides a golden opportunity for learning.
This was just an opportunity to create a whole new garden. I really like the food forest concept.
The school recently received a grant from the Ministry of Education to refresh its ageing buildings. Staff used that opportunity to set aside a much larger space for their Kai garden, expanding it to include a wider diversity of plants. Now the kids are just waiting until they can sample the fruits of their labour.
Whereas it will be like a living green tunnel that you can travel through and literally pick your lunch off as you travel through it. Yeah.
The school's aiming to develop a garden producing a bounty of fresh fruit and vegetables, which can help inspire, connect and be shared with the local community. In Alexandra,
It's you!
the South Today.
Whai Yakane. Still to come on the South Today, we're off to Alexandra to check out their fun and festive Christmas displays. And the time has almost come to take a look back at the year in news. We'll start with January very soon.
Don't mention Christmas! There's huge savings on beds, bedroom, lounge, dining and much more. Plus 50% off all outdoor furniture. And you can pay it off over 24 months interest-free.
We're a Concern Otago.
Age Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activity, including little walks.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer,
You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Well, what do dad jokes, Disney characters, minions, rock art and an abundance of living Christmas trees have in common? The answer for Alexandra residents is an unofficial festive addition to their renowned trails and half-mile reserve.
If you go down to the woods before Christmas, you make it a big surprise. Christine and Neville Ridd live near Half Mile Reserve in Alexandra and decided they wanted to decorate the outdoor area this festive season rather than their house.
Well, when we did our house up, we had cutouts, as you see here, because some of them are very old and some of them are brand new. It was because children couldn't stay up late enough to see light displays.
White stones mark the path through the natural landmarks and past rocky outcrops to a natural amphitheatre for carol singing, featuring a manger with a donkey, sheep and pig. Ridd says there are characters for kids of all ages, even adult ones.
It offers something of interest and keeps the people's interest up, you know, for adults as well. And if there's any humour that the children don't understand, it's over their heads and adults will get it.
The pair believe the reserve has a magical quality about it, which they are hoping to enhance with their creations. In Alexandra, the South Today.
Well, it's time to begin our look back at the year in news from across the south. In January, New Zealand got used to the term traffic lights as the country got to grips with living alongside COVID-19.
The green light for the start of the year soon became a red light as the government increased the number of restrictions on the public to try and slow the spread of COVID-19.
That's why I'm confirming today that when Omicron enters into the community, beyond border-related cases, the whole country will move into red within 24 to 48 hours.
Southerners teamed up with the rest of New Zealand to help their Pacific neighbours, with aid sent to Tonga as it started its recovery from the effects of the Honga Tonga Haupai volcanic eruption, one of the most powerful seismic events ever recorded. Dunedin train enthusiasts were sad and angry as council planned to sell rail assets from the then mothballed Taieri Gorge Railway.
We were led to believe after a motion that was made at a meeting, a city council meeting, that the assets would go into hibernation and be maintained until a decision was made by the council itself on the future of the railway.
And the first month of the year came to a close, with Dunedin-based Ukrainians fearing for loved ones back home as the Russian invasion loomed.
We fear about the people living in Ukraine, so they have to fight. They will die, and it is really sad.
Little did they know then that less than a month later, a full-scale invasion would be underway. Across the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. After years of restoration work, the Lakes District Museum and historic bank building in Arrowtown has reopened its doors. A multicoloured portaloo has begun a tour of the South Island, aimed at getting people talking about gut health. And a food garden created by students at Alexandra Primary School has been recognised by Keep New Zealand Beautiful. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the editor, Barry Stewart. Hello, Barry.
Hannah, hello, how are you?
Very well. What can we expect in the
Well,
weekend paper?
Well, we have a story about motorists not renewing their car registrations. Apparently it's quite a high number who are not doing that, so we have a look at that issue.
Okay.
We also have a story about 3 women who started off at school together, and they went right through school as friends. Went to university, went right through university and graduate tomorrow together, and all getting some medical degrees, so or health degrees of some form. So pretty cool story, isn't it?
It's a lovely story, absolutely.
So double graduation tomorrow, so lots of people out and about in the streets. So that's all good. On a slightly more disturbing note, an Otago woman who was twice subjected to vicious attacks by her ex-partner says she's been let down by the justice system. Our court reporter Rob Kidd has a look at that story and talks to the woman concerned, and there's some learnings in that as well, and some questions regarding certainly the justice system. So have a look out for that. Good. And also on a slightly more positive note, but certainly still concerning prisons and justice, Daisy Hudson has had a look, been down to Milton to talk to locals about the impact of the prison 15 years on. So it's 15 years since that opened. What was the impact in the community? So we try.
It'll be a good hard look.
Find a few answers to that.
All right. Hey, Barry, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, a wide area of low pressure in the eastern Tasman Sea weakens slowly tomorrow, decaying over the South Island on Sunday, with a cooler southeasterly on the way. Heading to the top of the South Island, rain with fresh northerlies and 19 degrees up in Nelson and over in Greymouth tomorrow too. While Christchurch starts the weekend with high cloud and a windy but very warm 25 degrees. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago, warm and windy through here tomorrow with high cloud too, 25 in Ashburton, 24 for Timaru, while Oamaru can expect a high of 22 degrees. Heading westwards to the Central Lakes. Northerlies and light showers are on the way tomorrow. Wanaka and Queenstown will get up to 19, while Alex does one better with 20 degrees and afternoon sun showers. Heading further south, a lovely start to the weekend through here as Balclutha heads for 19 with some cloud and light winds. Similar in Gore and 20 degrees, with showers on the coast for the Catlins and light southerlies, heading for a high of 18 degrees. And down to the deep south, cloudy in Invercargill and a warm low overnight of 14 degrees. Dry but cloudy tomorrow with humid nor'easterlies and a high of 21. And Sunday's looking cloudy with a few showers and cool southwesterlies, the high 16 degrees. And finally, heading to Dunedin. Cloud clearing tonight and down to 13. Then a fine start to your weekend with sunny skies and light winds along with a high of 21 before an afternoon change bringing brief and light showers. Sunday's looking like a much cooler day in the city with 16 and southerly winds. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Matiwa.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.